that Muhammad Shah Jahan will be left. He has to join again. Good morning, students. Welcome to the OOAD session, Unit 2, Static UML Diagrams. Under Module 6, we are going to see a very important topic, attributes. Attributes in UML. You may think that it may be a simple definition. Attribute means what? It tells about the characteristics of an object or a person or anything. Okay, but with respect to attributes, there are so many things we have to look while we are using attributes in the class diagram, especially in the UML. Yes. Before that, before getting into topic, in the last class we saw about a partial domain model. Let me quickly review the previous session PPT also. So we saw that the UP domain model and design model. Yes, you have a quick look at it. We'll move on to the attributes in few minutes. So these are the artifacts. So which artifacts start in which phase? We have seen in detail. S stands for start and R stands for refine. Some artifacts may be refined in some phases. Those are mentioned in this slide. Then we saw association. Under association, multiplicity, name and navigability are most important. We can represent association as what? Aggregation, composition, generalization, realization or dependency. So these are the different forms of representing the association. So this is the common association list. If you are going to associate two classes, it will come under any of this category only. Either A can be a subclass of B or either A is a part of B. A and B are two different classes. Yes, student is a part of college. So like that you can relate. These are the common association list we are using. Then we saw the two case studies, next gen POS and the Monopoly game. In that we saw with we have finished with the next gen POS only. We saw the partial domain model for the next gen POS. Now we are going to see that Monopoly game also. Yes, so let me put the slideshow. So this is the partial domain model for the next gen POS. POS stands for point of sale. How a sale happens in a departmental store. Departmental store means you can think of a small shop or you can think of a big departmental store in mall like that, anything. But it has default, it has some default classes. It must have some store, it must have items, product description, etc. Okay, so this is the representation of the partial domain model. Why it is partial? It is a domain model. Domain model means what? The visual representation of the conceptual classes. Just I mentioned only class name, but by that name itself we are identifying something related to that class. If I am mentioning a class as student means what can we do? Yes. We can guess that the student having roll number, name, marks, and we are going to calculate the CGPA. Like that, we are just narrating something from it. Okay, so that is the partial domain model. I didn't mention any operations at all. Yes, if operations are mentioned, it will become a full domain model. Just I mentioned only the class name, but in association, you have to mention almost all different terms, that is navigation, multiplicity, verb class. If you are having description class means you must mention that one, etc. Yes. So this is the simple representation of the next gen POS. So here under sale you are having what? One class called cash payment and another class called customer. These are not the parts. Okay. Suppose if I am drawing, if I am going to draw some line with arrow mark, then that is called as what? Generalization. Assume that you are having some class called payment. So I can draw here, just bear with my handwriting. So now you can have three different specialization or specification. Yes, so here you are having three classes. In the exam and all, you draw it properly. Just for time being, I am mentioning. So this is your payment. Okay. Yes. So assume that the first top this class is the payment class. This payment can be made either through what? Cash or a debit card, net banking, anything. Okay. So you can specify particular classes. Okay. Wherever possible, you can mention the specialization. So these are the specialization, but this is the generalized class. Payment is the generalized class. You can subdivide into these three classes. For that, you have to mention it as solid line with the triangle. Okay, like that you can mention. So now this thing we have to continue from today's session. So this is the partial domain model for the Monopoly game. In the last session, we discussed about Monopoly game. It's a very interesting game. You must have what? At least 2 to 6 players, minimum 2 to 6 players. Die will be thrown. The player will move the piece. Piece means that coin. Each one will be having a unique coin, unique color coin or piece. Here it is mentioned as piece. Yes. So he has to move the particular coin across the board. So if he is throwing some 3 on the die means he has to place give 3 moves. At that place, if you are able to buy a town for 5,000 and if you are capable means you can buy like that. It's an interesting game like trade, business and all. Okay. So here in the entire textbook for the entire syllabus, this case study also plays a very important role because it's a easy one to understand the concepts. So only they have mentioned. The POS also the general thing, a practical oriented case study. Okay. So these are the 6 different classes that are identified. Yes. We saw it in the last session itself. Die is considered as one class. Monopoly game itself as another class. Board as one class. Player, piece and then square. Now note down the multiplicities. Let me start from here. So let me start from this one. Monopoly game. How many games I can play at a time? One game. So normally one game played on one board. That one board contains how many squares? Each square, 40 squares. Squares are present in where? A piece is on square. We have to place the piece on square. Here you can mention the navigability. I will get into it later. Now let's look at the 6 classes. So player owns the piece. Okay, here I have started in this way, but here piece is on square, not the square is on piece. Okay, and also player owns the piece, not the piece owns player. Here, player plays. How many players? 2 to 8 players. I told it as 2 to 6, minimum 2, maximum 8 players. So 2 to 8 players plays how many game? One game. Yes. And then one Monopoly game played with die. So what this arrow mark denotes? Anyone? Unmute and tell, or you can put it in chat. What this filled arrow mark? There is no line at all. Only arrow mark is there. What this denotes? Make a rough guess. What that filled arrow mark triangle denotes in the association. Last class only we have discussed. Quick answers in chat. No idea for anyone. So that is called as navigability. Yes, this is called as your navigability. Because from where to where I have to move, that is denoted. I can't say Monopoly game plays player. It's not correct. Okay. Similarly, square is on, piece is on square. So you have to put this arrow mark, this filled arrow mark, this filled triangle, that's all. Here it is mentioned clearly. You have to mention wherever applicable, wherever needed. Or else you may make it in a reverse way that won't be sensible. That won't make sense. Okay. So player plays one Monopoly game. So here Monopoly game played with, because it is traversing in this direction. So you have to learn in this way. You have to study in this way. Monopoly game played with die. Like this, you can represent a partial domain model. In this, by looking at the partial domain model itself, we can guess the entire scenario of the Monopoly game. So how many players playing, how they are playing, using the piece, where it is placed on the square, a board will be there, like that. Okay, so that is the representation of partial domain model. Now we move on to attributes. As told in many classes, a class diagram is represented by what? 3 compartments or 3 parts. So these are the 3 parts. First part is your class name, second part attributes, and third part is operations. Okay, don't think that I didn't mention anywhere in the slide so far. These are all the default things which you have to remember. So a class diagram contains 3 components: class name, attributes, and then operations. Now we are going to see in detail about attributes itself, because there are so many things under attributes. So many small nuances you have to follow. Normally, what is an attribute of a particular class? It tells about the characteristics. How you are telling the characteristics? Through some values. Yes. So for a student means student roll number is an attribute. You have to give some value to that roll number, then only it will be meaningful. A roll number is an abstract type. For that roll number, you have to create many instances. Yes, 20180, 1001, 102, 3, 4, like that. So that is the value for each for that particular attribute roll number. Similarly, name. You are giving the title as the name. Name of the particular attribute is student name. But you have to mention some name, student name. Then only it will be meaningful during the particular application. You can't directly specify, that is by default, you can't directly mention student name like that. That object refers which student you have to mention. Yes, like that for all the attributes, you must give some values, then only it will be meaningful. So that definition only we have given here. Values that can be attached to instances of the class or the interface. Either to the class or to the interface, I have to give some values. Just I told you, roll number is the attribute. You are going to create 150 roll numbers for the entire third year section. So 150 instances will be created. 150 objects are there, because you people around 160. Let's take 160 object, 160 students are there. I have to create 160 instances for that particular roll number with different values. So that is the exact definition for attribute. Hereafter, don't simply write, it denotes the characteristics of objects. You have to write extra these things, write with example. Again and again I am mentioning. For any question asked, if you are supposed to write, so far you are attending only MCQ only, so no problem at all. If you are supposed to write any question and answer type, means you must write with example. Okay. So values that are attached to the instances. These are the other definitions. Attributes are the significant pieces of data. Pieces means significant components of the data. Who is owning a particular class is owning the attributes, owned by a particular class. Always the attributes start with the lowercase letter. Address, amount, employee ID, age, last date, payment, anything. You can mention any related, any meaningful attribute. Okay, and also every class needs a unique identifier. That is called as a key attribute. It needs in DBMS you might have studied primary key, foreign key, and all. With the primary key, we can access the entries in other tables also. Like that, here also you can have a key attribute. With that attribute, you can refer the other classes also. Yes. So this is a simple example. The name of the class is circle. Yes, for the circle, we are having 3 attributes. We will move on to the visibility modes here. Though I told already, let's see it in detail. This is not minus, hyphen symbol, this one. X hyphen coordinate, or you can mention it as without hyphen x coordinate. Then the second attribute is y coordinate and the third one is radius. So these are the three different attributes. Yes. Next, what are the operations that I can do with these attributes? I can find the area of the circle. I can find the circumference of the circle. I can find the scale of the circle. So these are the operations that can be performed on the particular class using these attributes. This is the general meaning of the class which is given here. Yes, you may think that this minus, so this is your minus symbol, not hyphen symbol. Minus hash symbol is there, and in operations all plus symbol are there. What they denote? They are the visibility modes, or they can be called as the access specifiers. Yes, let's see that one. We are going to have three different visibility modes of attributes in UML. Very important question. Either it may be asked in 2 marks, 6 mark or anything. Maximum 6 marks it will take. Or if you are asked to write a detailed note on attributes in UML with suitable illustration, means you have to write the definition, then the parts of attribute, then the visibility modes, the types of attributes, like that you have to mention everything, whichever we are going to discuss in this class. Yes. So these are the three visibility modes: public mode, private mode, and then protected. All these three we saw in OOPS concepts in Java also. So public, private, and then protected. Protected is mainly used for inheritance. You all familiar with that. So in UML also you can mention. By default, all the members in the class are what? Private only. Hope you all know this very familiar, simple thing. By default, all the members in a class, all the members means both member variables and member functions. This one. These attributes are your member variables. These operations are the member functions. All are by default private only. Okay. But we are making the operations as public. Why we are making? Because then only it can be used by other classes. So we have narrowed down the general concept as what? As follows. So all the member variables are private by default. All the member functions are treated as public in a class. So only I have mentioned it as plus in the operations. Private means what? Private means if I declare a variable as private means then this variable can be used only within the class, only by the objects that are created for this class. Yes, that means what? I can use these attributes only for making these functions, only for executing these operations. That same concept only. Just by notation it differs, that's all. So a public member is visible from anywhere in the system. So in a class diagram, you have to mention it as plus before the attribute. It is prefixed. Before the attribute, you have to give it as plus. Yes, then private. Private is visible only within the class. We can't access these private members by the outside objects or by the objects of outside classes. So that is treated as private. The symbol for private is minus, not hyphen symbol. Minus sign denotes private, plus sign denotes public, and hash symbol denotes protected. Protected member is visible within the class, but how it is visible means they are visible from the subclasses, inherited from its superclass, but not from the outside. Yes, it is mainly used for inheritance. Suppose I am inheriting two subclasses from a parent class means I want to access the member variables of that particular parent class means I can make it as protected. So here, this radius is given as protected. That means what? If I am going to derive 2 or 3 classes for this circuit class means I can make use of the radius. That is the meaning. So these are the visibility modes or access specifiers. In other words, we can call it as access specifiers. Okay. Next, we move on to syntax. We can mention in either as the first one or as the second one. Both are same only. So how to draw this, how to write the attribute. So these are the syntax for attributes. Visibility name colon type equal to default value. Suppose you are giving some default value means you can give like this, visibility name or visibility mode. So visibility mode name colon, you make it separate. Name colon type equal to default value. Yes. The visibility is nothing but the visibility mode which you are using for the operations. You can use it for the operations also. There is another form of mentioning the UML attribute. Visibility name colon. Don't make it as a single word, visibility name. Visibility mode, name, colon, type. You can add multiplicity. Multiplicity equal to default. In flower bracket, you have to give property string. Property string means it is mainly used for giving the operations. You can mention the particular property of a attribute if needed. Okay, it's an optional one only. So these are the two ways of representing the attribute. Normally we are using the first syntax only. In general, we can, you know this one also. Yes, multiplicity equal to default. Yes, let's move to this example directly, then we come to the third point. For example, date received. This is the attribute name. As told, you have to start with small, lowercase letter only. Later you can have uppercase. But there is no space and all. The same rule that is followed for identifier. That is applicable for name of the class, name of the attribute, and name of the operations also. Okay. So date received in square bracket, you have to give the multiplicity. 0, actually double dot only, 0 to 1, colon, what is the return type? Date. The return type is date. Okay. This one you can give it in the reverse thing also. That is given in the example. Okay. For example, age colon integer. Very simple thing. Okay, suppose if you are treating it as a private, if you are going to give the access specifier as private means minus age colon integer or number, like that you can give. But note down the third point, from the conceptual perspective, there is no difference between the attribute and the association. What do you mean by that one? There are three different perspectives. What are those? Conceptual perspective, specification perspective, and implementation perspective. These are the three perspectives. Conceptual perspective means what? I am mentioning concept. I am denoting some concept. But with respect to conceptual perspective, there is actually no difference between attribute and association because you are having attribute. I am going to associate with to the other class. That means what? I am going to associate these attributes only to the next class. Okay, so there is no actual difference, but there is difference at the specification level and the implementation level. Yes, there will be some difference. You have to mention the specification perspective because in attribute, if I am going to specify the condition, I told in the last class also, I can give the conditions in the attribute. I told that age minus age colon number I have mentioned minus age within bracket I can give greater than 18. So that is the condition I can give for the attribute. That is your specification perspective. And also an implementation level means while going for coding and all, you have to write the operation. At that thing, attribute is different from the association. Okay. So you have to put the multiplicity in square bracket like this. This is an example for using the multiplicity. Attribute name, simple thing only. Attribute name within square bracket multiplicity colon return type, data type. Not return type, data type. Return type is for operations. Okay. Next. So these are few examples. You can see it one by one. Let's see the first one. So a class named sale is given. For that sale, what is the attribute name? Attribute is data type. What is the, attribute name is date time. What is the data type for the date time? Date. Date is a default data type. We will discuss in the next slides. Okay. Next, the second one is total. I didn't mention minus, but I have put it in a separate note symbol. This one is a private visibility. Like this also you can give, but to avoid confusions, better give minus here. So you can simply put minus symbol. Yes, it denotes the private visibility. Okay. Next, total, I didn't mention anything. If I am not specifically mentioning anything means what it denotes. By default, it is treated as private member only in any class diagram in UML. By default, all the members are taken as private. So only though I am not mentioning minus, it is given as what? Private visibility. Suppose I need to give it as public visibility means you must mention plus symbol. Okay. This one, plus symbol denotes the public visibility for a math class. For a class named math, what is the variable I'm using? Sorry, attribute I'm using? Pi. Pi is an attribute I'm using of of data type real equal to 3.14. In programming, you might have know the initialization of the variable. Same thing only. Yes, same thing. Static int x equal to 3. Like that we can give in C program or Java, anything. Same thing. I'm going to use an attribute called pi with value 3.14. I told about the property string. This one. Second point. So equal to default column property string. This is your property string. Whether it is read only or read write. It's not applicable for all the attributes. For these kind of attributes, you can give the property string. So 3.14 read only. This is considered as a read only attribute. I have mentioned it as public visibility. Okay. Any constants values, if you are going to give means you can represent like this. Next, look at the third example. You are having a class called what? Person. What are the different attributes that are given? First name, middle name and last name. In that middle name, they have mentioned the multiplicity 0 to 1. The middle name is having what? 0 to 1 number of characters. That is the default meaning. Okay. So it can be any optimal value. So that is specified here. It can be an optimal value. It's not necessary that all the persons must have first name, middle name and last name. If the middle name is there means you have to give it the multiplicity range is 0 to 1. That's it. Yes. Next. So far these are the common syntax, how we are going to mention the visibility nodes, and we have seen different examples. Very simple concept only, but it is a big question. You can easily score marks. By writing all these things and decorating all these with a different pen and all, you can easily score more marks in OOAD. Don't worry about the subject at all, but listen the class. That is most important. Now we are going to see a very important 2-mark question and 4-mark also. Write a note on derived attributes. Question is often asked in university exam. Derived attributes. In the name itself, we are getting the meaning. Yes, an attribute which is derived from some other attribute or some other information. Then that is called as derived attribute. Like this we saw in class also related to this. What's that one? Description class. Instead of mentioning all the attributes in a single class, I can have a separate class itself as what? A description class. Under the description class, you can mention few attributes. Yes, you remember? For example, you are having a class called course. For that course, I can have what? A separate class called course description. Under that course description, you can mention how many courses are there, what is the course code, duration, like that. Same thing, like that in attribute. That is dealt in class diagram. Now, related to that, we are having what? In attributes also, we are having one similar concept called derived attributes. We are going to derive a particular attribute from some other attribute. A very simple and easy example is what? Age. How I am going to calculate age only if I know the date of birth. Yes. Age is also an attribute. Date of birth is also an attribute. Here age is called as the derived attribute. Can you say one more example? CGPA. We can give CGPA as a derived attribute. Why? I can calculate CGPA only if I know the GPAs of all the semesters. So GPA are also attributes. If I know the information, if I know that particular data only, I can calculate CGPA. Okay, these are all the common general things related to our discipline. Apart from that, look at this second example. An attribute called total. How can I calculate? Only if I know the sales line item. Only if I know how many items are sold. Yes, then only I can calculate the total. If you are going to a departmental store, you are purchasing some 10, 15 items. Only if I know the cost of each items, I can calculate the total. So here total is the derived attribute. Okay, and also quantity. Quantity is calculated from the multiplicity value. How much quantity I have to get it. Yes, whether it is for 2 products or 200 products, 20 products like that. So that is the thing you have to remember while going with derived attributes. You have to mention the derived attribute with the slash symbol, prefixed by slash symbol. You can note this here. Quantity is called as the derived attribute. Yes, under the class name called what? Sales line item. Always a derived attribute is prefixed with slash symbol. Plus minus are for visibility modes. Don't get confused. Star is for what? Multiplicity. All the arithmetic operation symbols we have seen. Plus minus for visibility mode. Star is for what? Multiplicity. Star denotes many. One to many. Like that. So slash symbol is for denoting the derived attribute. So this quantity is a derived attribute. Like this, you can draw a class called what? Student. Under that, you can mention age as the derived attribute. Okay. So I can draw a class called student. Under that, I can mention slash, then what? Age. If I'm not mentioning slash symbol means it will be treated as an ordinary attribute only. Okay. For description class, there is no separate notation at all. Just you are making it as a separate class with the name what? Description or the DESC like that for our identification only. But here, all the derived attributes are suffixed with slash symbol. So here what it denotes 0 to 1 sales line item records the sale of how many items? 1 to many items. This is your association. So they have mentioned this is called as the note. Do you remember? NOTE. This is note. This one is called as a dog-eared rectangle. Here you have to draw, don't draw normal rectangle. You have to make a slight curve. Then you have to draw. And you have to shade this one. This is the way of drawing the note in a UML diagram. You have to mention maximum all the possible notations in a class diagram. But don't make it very clumsy. It should be attractive and neat also. Yes. Next, data types of the attributes. What are the different data types that we can use in the attributes? A very common primitive data types that can be used are number. Age colon number. Simply I can make it as number. Okay. Then Boolean. I can give true false expressions. Then character. Date as one data type. Time. Okay. Normally it is mentioned as date separately and you can have time also. Date can also be specified as date time. That is the data type that can be mentioned for attributes. And the last one is string, a group of characters. Just a text can be represented using the string. These are the primitive data types that can be applied for attributes. So in the number you are getting what? Integers. The integer values can be used in the numbers. So you can give float value also, colon float or colon real. So you obviously will get the numbers as the data type. In specifically you can give colon float, colon real, colon int, like that also you can give. It depends on the programming language you are choosing. Yes, as told earlier, with the class diagram, we can generate the skeleton code. So for what language you are going to generate the skeleton code, accordingly you have to give the data type here. The thing is very important. Yes. So these are the other common types. Those are the primitive data types. Apart from that, we can have other common types of types means data types. It's not the types of attributes. Okay. Other common data types are address. I can give address as a data type or color. If you're going to make some application related to image processing and all means, you can make use of color as a data type. Then geometrics, mentioning different shapes for mathematical domain and all. Phone number can be a data type. A postal code or pin code or zip code, it can be considered as a data type, or any other enumerated data types, and so on. All these can also be used as data types for the attributes. Okay, enumerated in a flower bracket, you can give the specific values also. Week, within curly brace, Sunday, comma, Monday, S, M, comma, T, comma, W. We can mention specific values also for some attributes. Okay, so these are the other common data types. It's not the types of attributes, data types of the attributes. Normally, types of attributes means you can have simple attribute, single valued, and multi-valued. I didn't mention in the slide. You can just note it. The types of attribute means simple attribute. Any attribute which you are normally using, that is called as a simple attribute. Second one, single valued attributes. Attributes which take only one value. Roll number is a single valued attribute. It will take only one value. Okay. Then single valued attribute, it will take only one value. Multi-valued means it can take many values. Roll number can be many values. I can have 150 roll numbers. So multi-valued attributes. Yes. Course code. Course code is only one. So that is can be a single valued attribute. Just have it in your mind. Nothing to get into detail. Simple attributes, single valued, and then multi-valued attributes. So in some complex concepts, instead of using the attributes, we can go with associations. That will be more better. That will be much better, and also it will be good looking. Okay. So a simple diagram is mentioned here. Sorry. So just I mentioned, forget this one. Just to see, look at this cashier class diagram. I mentioned name and current register as the attributes for the cashier. But instead of that, I can replace like this: cashier with name as one attribute and cashier with register as other attribute. Sometimes instead of combining many complex attributes, many attributes which have some complex meaning, you can give it in a separate way. So one cashier uses one register. That is the meaning actually. It's not meant that one cashier uses one cashier. Actually, one cashier using one register. That is the exact meaning. Some places, instead of using the attributes, instead of mentioning so many things in attribute, better we go with association. This is your association. This line is your association. Okay. It's not followed for all concepts. It can be used for simple complex concepts. So now we see the attributes in the two case studies. The next gen POS. Just have a look at it. Cash payment, product description, sale. We have seen that partial domain model. Same thing only. We are having 5 classes. So these are the attributes. Amount tendered, that is one attribute. So for product description, what can be? Description can be one attribute, item ID, price. As told, date time, it is used as one data type. Quantity can be used as a data type, as an attribute. Okay. And for store, what are the attributes? Address, store name, etc. And that address can be a data type. Date time is itself a data type. Like this, you can mention. Okay. We'll see that so this monopoly also very simple. With this, I will stop. So just a monopoly game. Last one. We are having 4 classes with 4 attributes. Face value. For a die, we can't give name. Die face value. What number it's facing? 1 or 2 or 3, like that. Square attribute is what? Name. For player, name, piece, and the name. This description you can give. So these are the things related to attributes. You may think it is very, very simple, but these are the so many things related to attributes. Actually, I have taken one more extra minute. Okay. With this, I will stop. If any doubt at all, you can ask.